Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishnah's Nedarim, Parak Yud, Chapter 10, Mishna Dalid, Mishnah 4. So continuing on the subject of a Nara who is Mu'urasa, she's betrothed, and we say that at that point of time, the cancellation of her Nedarim have to be both through her father and her Oris and her husband. So the Mishnah says, Darach Tamidei Chachamim. It was the way of Torah scholars. Before his daughter would leave him. Now, what that means is that, as we mentioned, there was typically a decent period of time between the Erisin, the beginning of the marriage, and the Nesuin, and going to the Chuppah, which is the completion of the marriage. During Erisin, she was still by her father. Now, when it came time to go to the Chuppah, that she actually left her father's house to go to the Chuppah and to be with her husband. So the Mishnah says that Talmidei Chachamim, before their daughters would leave, and before their daughters would go to the Chuppah, Omer La, he would say to her, Kol Nedarim shenadat b'seich beisi, any neder that you have made in my house, while you were in my house, Harei hein mufarin, they are canceled. Okay, so basically he was doing his part to make sure that she's not leaving the marriage with any Nedarim that would be left uncanceled by him, because once she goes to the chuppah, she is completely out of her father's domain when it comes to anything about Nedarim. And so to the husband, before she would enter his domain, meaning before she would go to the chuppah, he says to her, any neder that you made before you have entered into my domain, harihein mufarin, they are mufar, they are canceled. So what we have here is the father and the Oris canceling her nedarim, right? They're both canceling her nedarim. The father, and this is at the point, this is the last point. So we're at the last period of time where they can do this together. Now, the thing is, so therefore the father does his part and the Oris does his part. Now, the only thing that means we need to explain is, why is the Oris so much in a rush to go ahead and cancel the Nedarim that she made before she goes to Chuppah, before she completely enters his domain? Why not wait till after she enters his domain to cancel the Nedarim? And the answer is, because when she enters his domain, he cannot anymore cancel the Nedarim made before she entered his domain. Okay? So therefore, being that he cannot cancel the Nedarim that were made before she entered his domain completely, before she went to Chuppah, therefore he is taking care of that right now. Now, it's important to point out a couple of things. Number one, the Mishnah says the people who did this were Talmidei Chachamim. What does it got to do with being a Talmid Chacham? Was there something specific? Was there something specifically scholarly about what was being done here? The answer is that it was it wasn't anything major, the idea, but the point was the practice of Torah scholars is to help people avoid sin. And therefore, they made sure to do this. They were cognizant of this, and they made sure to do this, that she shouldn't come out, having to keep a neder and then possibly not keeping it. All right. So the first thing the Mishnah says is the father would say before she goes to the chuppah, any neder you made, it should be canceled on my part. Now, and the Mishnah says that the Oris, who is now bringing her to the chuppah, before she comes to the chuppah, he does the same thing. Any nedarim made beforehand, until now in your father's house, after anything made, basically. After Erisin until now, what you did in your father's house, I'm canceling now. So they both canceled those Nedarim. The Nedarim that they both have domain over, they've been canceled. But the Mishnah concludes, but he cannot cancel once he becomes a full husband, he cannot cancel the Nedarim that she made before that. Now, in here the notes are bringing out a very important point, and that is like this. In Mishnah 3, we learned that during betrothal period, an Oris can cancel Nedarim the Rusa had made before their betrothal. Meaning, we had in previous Mishnah like this. We had before in previous Mishnah, if you remember, she made a neder when she was in Arusa. She got divorced that day. she got, again, betrothed the same day. And we say that at that point, who are the ones that cancel the Nedarim? The father and the new chassan, and the new husband. Now, the new husband is canceling Nedarim that were made before he was her husband, right? And there we said that he could do it together with the father. And here we're saying that once he enters the chuppah, he can't. So what's the difference between the two? The difference is because the reason for this difference is that during the betrothal, the aris cancels his arusas Nedarim together with her father, for her father. Since Nedarim she made before her betrothal were at one time under her father's complete control before she was betrothed, the aris can join the father in canceling those same Nedarim even after their betrothal. The point is that when you're dealing with an aris is going to be able to cancel the new aris, the new guy. He's going to be able to cancel the Nedarim that she made before they were married because the father has retained control over the Nedarim, right? The father has control. In the interim, before the new guy came around, the father was in total control. And now the new aris is joining up with the father. So basically, when you're joining up with the father who already had domain over the Nedarim she made before, you now can cancel them too. Even though she made them before you were married. You can still go, before the Erisin, you can cancel because the father always had domain, and now you're joining up with the father. But in the case where we're talking about now, which is someone she's going to the chuppah, once she goes to the chuppah, the father's out of the picture. Okay? A full husband, though, cancels his wife's Nedarim by himself. Not with the father's out of the picture. He does it by himself. And since he never had complete control over Nedarim she made before their Nisuin, he cannot cancel them even after their Nisuin. The point being is that it may have been when he was an aris that he had the power, he had some kind of power of cancellation over these Nedarim she made. However, at this point of time, after the chuppah, he's on his own. He never had his own complete domain over these Nedarim, and therefore, once they get married, where now he becomes the sole person who has the power to cancel her Nedarim, he cannot cancel those Nedarim that were made beforehand, because the one that made beforehand, he never had full domain over to be able to cancel. And then the last point they bring out here is the following. So the father says, any neder that you made, I'm canceling. The husband says, any neder that you made, I'm canceling. Sounds like they're not sure if she made it or not, right? They don't know for sure if she made it or not, but they're doing it in case. So they point out here, even though the husband or father did not know of any specific nedarim she had made, they can cancel any neder she might have made by stating that all her nedarim are canceled. However, if they do hear about a specific neder, they may cancel it only on the day they hear about it, which is really interesting. If you hear about the neder, you got one day to do it. You got that day to do it. After that, you're done. You can't do it anymore. But if you didn't hear about it and you're doing it in case, you can do it anytime. And that's why the Mishna says this is what they do before she goes to the chuppah. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.